Welcome to the Financially Informed Investor. I'm Sarah Peterson, here with Jim Sloan, president of Jim Sloan & Associates. So good to see you today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
It's a good day to talk about finances. It's a great day to talk about retirement, right?
Always, always.
Absolutely. Well, we're just getting to know each other, and you're going to get to know the viewers shortly. I'd love for them to know how you got involved in this business.
Well, I'm probably, Sarah, one of the ones that didn't intend to come into the financial services arena. I started out way back in my early 20s. I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player. So I'm like, okay, let me try out for the Astros and the
Baseball,
Cubs.
finance,
Okay.
you know, one or the other.
So I tried out for the Astros and the Cubs, and wasn't good enough. Didn't make it, so I'm like, what next? So I thought, maybe I'll be an airline pilot. So I went to Continental's pilot development program. Did that for 18 months. Got my private license, first part of my commercial license. Did my, I don't know, 150 hours of flight time, 300 takeoff and landings. And then I was like, nope, this is not it. What next? So I went into the financial services arena in 1996 at age 29 and never looked back. And it has been pretty awesome being able to help people. And I knew that instantly, that I could help people significantly in their financial planning.
I love the story because, like so many of us, we think we know what we want to do and we're singularly focused, and then we get derailed. And ultimately, finding something that you're passionate about is all we ever hope for, right?
And that's what life is. And
absolutely.
when you're younger, you think you know, but maybe not.
Well, so you got into the financial services business, and I'm sure your business has evolved over time, but how does the way that you plan look different from other financial advisors?
Well, I think, Sarah, something that I would say is that, number one, I'm a fiduciary advisor, which certainly means I'm legally bound to make recommendations that are in my client's best interest. Insurance agents and brokers are not held to that same standard. So being a fiduciary advisor is very important. And then secondly, having a process. It might sound simple, but having a step-by-step process to go through and help consumers and investors make decisions that are in their best interest is important. Having a process in place.
And the process of planning for retirement specifically is quite different than it would be in earlier years where we're sort of focused on accumulation.
Yeah, I mean, really, major financial decisions people make all the time. But I found that they typically have, making these decisions without having all the relevant facts on the table, without running math. Maybe they're using emotions or opinions or missing information, but they're still making these decisions. So I just say, look, here's a process. Let's sit down, let's walk through it. Let's get all the relevant facts on the table. Let's run the math, and let's see what is in your best interest.
So that being said, you're dealing with all kinds of people who have unique circumstances unto themselves. What are some of the most common sort of mistakes and pitfalls you see?
Well, let me give you a couple of examples, I guess, and that would be, just a simple question I ask an investor: when would you begin Social Security? When do you anticipate starting Social Security? And I hear answers such as, well, I'm going to start sooner or as early as I can because it may not be there my whole life, or I'm going to start at age 70 so that my benefit can grow, or I'm going to start at full retirement age, and I'm wondering, how did you arrive at that decision? How do you know that that is when you should begin? That's the optimal age for you. So our process certainly shows folks what their optimal age is to begin. So that would be one.
Yeah. Well, Social Security can become a pretty complicated, question. In general, I think a lot of people have no idea where to start. And so having a professional in their corner is essential when making these decisions.
That's true. And speaking of Social Security, I just wrote my 6th book, The Financially Informed Investor, and then one of those chapters is devoted to the Social Security area. And in fact, I think I'm going to have another show later that we're going to talk about specifically Social Security issues, because it is complex. And I say complex, well, it's a matter of just having, you can go to Social Security's website and figure out what your benefits will be at what age, but how does that help you? How does that help you?
That's one piece of that puzzle.
That is, yeah.
And we have to look at the holistic, yes, the whole view of your finances before we make that decision. So you wrote 6 books.
Yes, I did.
That's something to be very proud of. All 6 on finance.
All 6 on finance. And the 6 books, really, Sarah, I got started writing books about 15 years ago. And I did that because I keep answering the same questions. I keep seeing the same things over and over and over. And whether it's Social Security or the optimal order of withdrawal for your accounts. Which ones do you withdraw from first? Should I be converting? Should I not convert? So the same things I'm seeing over and over. I thought, well, let me just put it in print format to help people become informed and make decisions that are in their best interest.
I think you'll start to see we're going to get some wonderful questions from the viewers when they call in, and you start to see a lot of the same questions over and over again. There's topics that are relevant, even though our circumstances are all so unique. You will see that there are topics that are very relevant to a lot of people, it's really neat to see that. So let's talk about providing income for our retirement, and how do we decide what accounts we want to draw from?
Well, I would say that is going to be based on everyone's situation or their scenario. And, we want to start with, where is your guaranteed income streams or sources coming from? Is it Social Security? For most people it is. Educators in Texas are not necessarily going to have that, but again, we can talk about that later. So is it Social Security? Is it a pension, if you're one of those few that are going to get a pension? Because those are becoming very few and far between these days. And so once we start with that, then we'll take a look at their assets. Where are you at now? What kind of risk are you taking? What kind of income are you needing to see? What kind of income are you needing us to solve for?
So the viewers out there who are listening, who are thinking, I've never had anybody discuss these types of things with me, I haven't had this conversation with my current financial advisor, or perhaps they don't have one, now is a great time to let them know what it is you're offering today, just for the viewers of the show.
Sure. Well, for those that have $500,000 plus of investable assets, $500,000 plus of investable assets, I offer a complimentary retirement income analysis, and that analysis is going to give us a wealth of information, and it's going to simply help us understand what's going on in your current planning. It's going to help us understand, have you done enough? And then some of the questions, issues that we Sarah and I just discussed here, and that is, when should you begin Social Security? Should you be converting something? And how should you save going forward? Continue saving in your 401k, or maybe do on an after-tax basis or something like that. So complimentary retirement income analysis will help give you the answers to make sound financial decisions.
I really love to reiterate that, other advisors charge $1,000 or more, and you could absolutely be doing that. But as a gift to the viewers, you're doing this complimentary to give them an opportunity to get to know you and for you to get to know them, which is really, really special. So the phone lines do get really busy. Please have patience. That number is 844-755-1990. We'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back, and we're going to get to know Jim a little bit better.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life, and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Hello and welcome back to the Financially Informed Investor. I'm Sarah Peterson, here with Jim Sloan, president of Jim Sloan & Associates. And Jim, it's so wonderful getting to know you and how your process is really truly unique, and it's different to a lot of other, traditional financial advisors.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, because I certainly believe it is. I've been doing this 23 years now, so I see people on a regular basis, and many of them, most of them, already have a financial advisor. So I see what's going on in their current planning. And I still don't understand how some of the things can take place that is taking place in their financial picture. So if I can, maybe share a case study or two that kind of speaks to exactly what I'm talking about, and that is when someone is looking to retire, they're wanting to generate income, but how much income should we be generating? How much? Most people don't do a budget. They don't like that. They just throw out a number.
Do you see me hanging my head and saying
7,000 a month, 8,000 a month, 5,000 a month. I mean, how do you know, And pretty much what they're doing is using what their current financial picture looks like. They're using their current expenses, and I just have to show them that, look, if you do that, what's going to typically happen is we're going to be trying to solve for a lot more income than you're going to really need. And then that could also cause you to think that you can't ever retire because you'll never have enough, or we'll have to take more risk than we need to. So if I can share, the budget is very important. So what I do, and here's an example, somebody came into my office and they said, look, we need $8,000 monthly income. And okay, so I ran their data, I ran their information, and right here it says that they were going to run out of money at age 80. Age 80, their retirement funds are going to be depleted. They'll still have their Social Security, but age 80, their retirement funds are depleted. Why? Because they need $8,000 a month in net spendable income every month, and then you have to inflate that, let's call it 2.5%, 3% a year or so for the rest of their lives. So when you get 20, 30 years from now, that's an unbelievable amount of money. So this particular couple, I think they had maybe $1.5 million or so, maybe 1.2 million, somewhere in there. They need $8,000 net income. So again, that's why they're going to run out of money at age 80. So what I want to do is focus on how do we push the red line. The red line means that's when you're running out of money. How do we push that further out into the future, or how do we eliminate it altogether? And what I have found, again, here's a budget worksheet, fill it out, and it's as simple as this. They were including their mortgage. Okay, $1,200 of their mortgage, and they were including having a car note for the rest of their life. And we all know, I think, once you hit 85, 90, you're probably not going to have a car note anymore. You're probably not going to be driving. So we got rid of the car note, and then we got rid of the mortgage when they paid it off in 7 to 10 years or whatever it was. So there's a couple of $1,000s a month that we didn't need to solve for. So now they came back with that budget worksheet. They needed $5,700 a month, and now they're not ever going to run out of money. Why? Because in their mid to late 90s, they have around $800,000 now. That's the difference. That's the difference.
When you first started sharing this story, and what I love is when you said they have $1 million or $1.2 million, and their monthly budget was $8,000 a month, in my mind, and I'm sure most of the viewers, you think, well, that seems and sounds logical, right? But that's your job, is to be kind of the financial grim reaper and say, well, no, but what about taxes? What about this? And it whittles it down. And inflation, we're not considering that. And we just probably don't want to consider it, but these are all things that factor into these decisions.
You're right, and the whole point of retirement income planning is to make sure you don't run out of money in your lifetime. And there are things that we can do, but we have to have all the relevant facts on the table. We have to run the math, and we have to use logic so that we make decisions that are in your best interest. And in doing so, this was just an example. It's $2,700 a month that we were trying to solve for in income and didn't need to. So got that fixed, and so again, that's just a sample.
I'm sure they're pretty happy.
Absolutely, I was happy because I don't want a client that's going to run out of money on my watch.
Absolutely. Well, is that the biggest fear of most of your clients?
It's running out of money. Some, depending on the amount of assets they have. I mean, but the ones that have larger assets, they don't have that fear necessarily, but there's other issues going on in their planning that they're not even aware of.
We oftentimes think about, as our life, we get towards retirement, we can sort of start downsizing, and we need that. But really, it is the time where you want to start enjoying. So, it is better to start thinking about these things earlier so that we don't have to say, when I finally have the time, I can't do those things. You want to be able to say, no, I'm going to have the time, and I want to have the means to do the things that I've been waiting to do.
We want people to enjoy their life, but you're right. Sometimes I have to bear some news that is not necessarily what they're looking to hear. In fact, I have had, honestly, some box of tissue in my conference room because we have had some lengthy and deep discussions about certain things. Because when you talk about financial planning, you're going to have these conversations, and I've had people tear up and cry because they thought that they were, that they could retire at this particular age, and they thought that this is what their lifestyle was going to look like. And I've had husband and wife sitting in there, and then when I share these numbers with them, the wife looks at the husband and because she's in disbelief because she didn't know. So what I'm trying to do is help people, get the relevant facts on the table. Let's know. Let's see what's going on in your current planning, and then let's figure out how we optimize what you're trying to do.
Well, and as a woman, I oftentimes feel sad that a lot of women are not, privy to that information, or they're not savvy to it. Sometimes it's because they don't want to purely, but women live typically longer than men, so they really need to become more knowledgeable about their own finances.
Well, there's another topic. You're absolutely correct with women living longer than men. That's a statistical fact. And so, what is the woman going to do? I've asked that question many times when I have the husband and wife sitting in front of me. I was like, okay, Mr. Jones, you're handling the portfolio, you're handling your investment, everything is taken care of, everything looks like it's fine. What if you're in a car accident a month from now and you don't survive? What is she going to do? And then that's when, the conversation really gets started, because she doesn't know, and that's when she starts saying, well, I don't know, and what am I supposed to do? And so.
Well, for all those women out there who are sitting there listening, thinking, I don't remember the last time I had a conversation with my financial advisor, or I don't have a financial advisor, now is an excellent time for them to give you a call, because what you're offering today is for these viewers only, and you could be charging $1,000 or more, and this is complimentary.
It is, Sarah. It's a complimentary retirement income analysis that I'm offering everyone, our viewers today. But again, $500,000 plus of investable assets is what we're asking you to have, because you have to have assets to be able to, make some of the decisions or some of the information that I share. You have to have assets to be able to make that make sense. A retirement income analysis is going to help us figure out when you're going to generate income in retirement. How much can you generate? What's going on in your current planning? What is happening with your Social Security? When are you going to start that? What age? What's your optimal age? And what's your optimal order of withdrawing from your assets and so forth? So it covers a comprehensive look at your financial picture. And so that's what it is, retirement income analysis, and it'll provide some meaningful information and facts.
We really appreciate you offering this complimentary, because I really think it gives the viewers an opportunity to take that financial pressure off the table and get to know you, and you get to know them. And like I said, you could be charging more, and you're not just, this is a gift to the viewers for taking their time to sit with us. So we really appreciate it. 844-755-1990. We will go to a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and get to know Jim just a little bit better.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have, by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no-obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Hello and welcome back to the Financially Informed Investor. I'm Sarah Peterson here with Jim Sloan of Jim Sloan and Associates, and we're learning so much from you. It's kind of fun making retirement fun, because a lot of people get overwhelmed by this topic, and we're just breaking it down.
Exactly, and it becomes real easy if you can get the relevant facts on the table and you can run the math. I mean, it really is that simple. But most people don't do that, Sarah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing some case studies with us because it really fleshes out sort of these concepts we're trying to talk about. One of the questions that we often have is, should you be converting some or all of your fully taxable accounts to tax-free accounts? And we hear these terms tax-free a lot.
Well, should you be converting your pre-tax accounts? The truth of the matter is, for the last 4 decades, most people, most investors, most savers or consumers have been saving in their 401ks or IRAs. That's really what they have been doing. And why? Because they get a tax deduction and is growing their money for their retirement, but that's about where they leave it. They don't go any further with that. And that's simply called a micro view. A micro view is, what can I do this year to keep my taxes low? That's what our CPA helps us with. But the macro view is where you look at your tax liability over your lifetime, and in doing so, that can be very eye-opening. So in a case sample that I have right here, for example, somebody came in, a 53-year-old husband and wife, and they had a fairly large IRA account, $600,000-$700,000. And we looked at their projected tax over this on their IRA over their lifetime when they spend the money, and then also when their children inherit the money. And it was somewhere around, I think, $515,000 that they're going to pay in taxes on this $600,000 account that they have today. Now, what if we converted? And when I say converted, convert to what? Convert to a Roth IRA or another tax-free vehicle. Conversion simply means pay taxes on what you owe today and get the IRS out of your pocket, and then now everything grows tax-free. And in doing so, this same couple, $295,000 was their lifetime projected taxes on this $600,000 IRA. So from $515,000 down to $295,000. Again, there's a couple of $100,000 there. That's a big chunk of money for most people.
Absolutely. And we often make these mistakes. I think people, they get these 401ks when they're young and they just sort of let them sit. Over time, we don't know what's being invested, or we're not managing it. And then all of a sudden, whoops, we think it's tax-free, but it's not. We pay it on the back end. So
it's not tax-free, it's tax-deferred, which means you're just deferring your taxes to a future point in time to pay. In fact, what happens on their 401ks, IRAs, is people get the tax deduction on their contributions, but their contributions and the growth over the years is going to come up with generally, a lot of money, but it's not all theirs. So here's another case study that I ran for somebody recently, and that is, they had $1 million IRA, and I said, what if we just left it alone and we never converted anything? What would that look like? And then what if we converted just 250,000 of it to a Roth IRA? And then what if we converted 500,000 to a Roth IRA? Well, here are the numbers. Just by converting $250,000 to a Roth IRA, they will have an extra $400,000 of retirement funds in their lifetime. Retirement fund. When I say their lifetime, I'm talking mid-90s, all the way up to, say, age 100. Because that's what we have to do is when we're trying to solve for income, we want to solve through age 100. If you're going to run out of money before age 100, then we need to figure out what's going on, because longevity is here to stay. And there's some numbers that are out there. I think we have in 2060, 39 years from now, 1 out of every 4 people in America are going to be 65 plus. And then there will be 19 million over age 85. So we are an aging nation, and we're living longer. So we want to make sure we generate income with the most tax-efficient income possible, because that's what you spend.
Wow,
you don't spend the money.
Startling statistic. I did not know.
Well, I've written one of my books on what is your, on long-term care. It's huge, and I didn't know this until I studied and researched for my book. What is your plan when your health fails? And it's amazing. So we are living longer, and we just have to make sure that we do the right things so that our money can last as long as our life.
It's interesting because I have family members who are at that retirement age, and they say, what if I live till 100? It's like, instead of what if, it's like, what if? I'm going, why this fear, Why not excitement about it? But it's scary for a lot of people.
I've had people say, I don't want you to plan past 75 for me. Like, sir.
Where are you going?
What? My whole family died before I was 75. Like, what do you do with that? Okay, spend everything?
Yeah.
Have nothing left at 75?
Well, you know
So-
what? The one who says it is the one that's going to end up living till 100.
Yep.
So there you
So-
go. Well, we're going to run out of time shortly. I really love for you to touch on the book and what you're offering today. It was so exciting.
Sounds great. Well, I would like to offer your viewers today a copy of my just published book. It was published earlier this year. This is my 6th book, and it's called The Financially Informed Investor, just same as the show. And it's what you don't know that could potentially cost you a bundle. And if you just go to jimsloan.com, download your copy today. And for everyone that has $500,000 plus of investable assets, I would like to offer you a complimentary retirement income analysis, and that analysis is going to help us figure out what's going on in your current planning. And have you done enough? Is it going to be enough? You know, what are the proper ages to your ages to begin Social Security? When should you convert? Should you convert anything or not? And then what's the order of withdrawal of your accounts? Should you start taking money out of your IRAs or your after-tax accounts? Or, you know, how does that go? All of these little pieces of information are going to help you make decisions that are in your best interest because we can get the math on the table.
You know what? We just really appreciate you offering this. Like I said earlier, I mean, other advisors charge $1,000 or more, and that the fact that you're offering this complimentary to give these viewers an opportunity to come and get to know you. It's not always easy to lay your financial cards on the table, and for someone to come and do that is just, it's a really big blessing. And also, as I said before, this can be a second opinion for those people who had as
Absolutely.
advisors. If you haven't heard from your advisor, you know, prior to 2020 and a lot has changed, that is a red flag, right? So use this opportunity if you have never had these discussions before to come and see Jim and have these important discussions so that you can enjoy the golden years. That's what we ultimately
Absolutely.
want to do, right? We have to have there's some stuff we have to talk about, and then there's the stuff we want to talk about.
The second opinion, Sarah, is great. I mean, most people do have, if they have money, they have assets, they're going to have an advisor or two. Well, get a second opinion because there are a lot of things that I talk about and that I see that their advisors are not bringing up. They're not talking about that. So.
Absolutely. Well, the phone lines do get really busy, so I want to give them that phone number again. It's 844-755-1990. Give us a call. Jim has the 6th book he's written. He's obviously extremely knowledgeable, and an opportunity to come and sit down with you and to have this complimentary review.
Super.
Absolutely. Well, it's been wonderful being
Thank
here
you.
with you today and wonderful getting to know you. And we always run out of time when we have lots more to talk
Yes, we
about,
do.
so we'll save it for the next show.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for joining us and on your road to retirement.